Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today, you want to see a dead body? I'm going to show you hundreds. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. A lot of great things going on behind the scenes you guys may be not aware of because I don't talk about a lot of things, but you guys will see it eventually. I've been working on a whole bunch of different projects and editing, getting different videos done. I'm still battling this COVID. It's crazy. I have the test right here. Look at that. Bam. And the lines that popped out like really quick. It was like the quickest I've ever seen it. I've only took like 2 other tests in my whole life. So COVID is pretty crazy. Makes you feel really off. But we're going to push through it and we're going to get things done. I'm about handling business and getting things done. I'm not about procrastination or any of that. Mike, how you doing? Latin Butterfly, how are you? Mickey Greggs, what's going on? Kelly, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Maureen, how are you? Oh, rah-rah. Full green light. We got a lot of people in the house already. Thomas, what's going on? Thank you. I appreciate that. It'll where's Pucker Lips? Don't worry, it's coming. I got some really funny things to show you guys today. Matter of fact, Pucker Lips. He's got catcher mitt lips. I don't know what's up with this dude's lips. Fucking weirdo shit. Pretty funny though. I don't know what's up with his eyebrows either. The fuck? Wait till you see this. You guys are gonna thoroughly enjoy this one. And yesterday I was doing a little bit of research and I found check this out. Hey. So yesterday I was doing some research and I found some of Sammy Gravano's straight up lies. Blatant. Like he says things one day, on the next interview, it's a totally different thing. And I'm getting that ready for you guys now. I'm working on it. And I'm going to play it back to back to back. And you guys will see exactly how these guys are straight full of shit. Total shit. Like they are not truthful at all. You know, Sammy Gravano's trying to rewrite history. Now, let me ask you guys a question. I really want to know your opinion. If someone is a gangster, right? A real gangster, and they're out there in the street taking care of business, doing whatever they do. And remember, I'm not a gangster for the millionth time. I am not a gangster. I'm just someone who was involved with some gang life early on in my life. I went to prison, in and out of prison for a long time. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. I got sober, and now I'm doing something positive, which is smashing these rats. And I'm not here just to talk down on people. I'm here to show the hypocrisy. What is people come on here and claim that they changed their life and they're doing it for the kids, which is clearly not the case. These people are only in it for themselves. They're only in it for the money they can make. They are not trying to help anyone. And they prove that every day. They say, oh, I'm in it for the kids, but I haven't ever seen them do anything for any kids. They claim to be these tough guys, but all they get arrested for is assaulting women. Like these people have open cases for assaulting women. None for assaulting any guys. It's only women. Pretty odd, isn't it? From a big gangster. Now you can't hold your temper with a woman? Then what kind of gangster are you? You're not a gangster. You guys are clowns, frauds, and phonies, and we're going to expose them over here. So, if you guys were watching yesterday, we were going over a video, and we're going to finish that video right now. Hit the like button.
This gangster role, and you never were a gangster in a lot of people's eyes. You were just born into the life, and you were privileged. You didn't have to do anything to get what you got.
What did you get? Tonto Chief Suckums. Let me introduce to you Chief Suckums.
Guys like me, I had to do it myself to get where I was.
He didn't get anywhere. He wasn't a made man. He wasn't going to be a made man. He was a do boy. Do this, do that. That's it. He was never anything. He never achieved greatness, ever. None of these guys did. Look at Michael Franchese. How you doing? Reality Report. Go check out the Reality Report. Look at Franchese. He takes a fucking blood oath over his own family. Over his own family. Betrays that oath. And now he's linking up with the rats. Because that's all they have left in life. They don't have anything left. That's all the respect they get is from them fucking rats. Anyone that looks up to any of these fucking rats, I don't care which one it is, if you look up to these people, then you got problems. Like, for real, I'm serious. You got major, major problems. I mean, if people are up here and they're respectful and they don't claim to be these crazy fucking psycho killers trying to convince you how tough they are, there are some people who cooperated that I don't bother with them. Some of them I'm even cool with. I'm cordial with. Larry Mazza is a great guy. Shout out to Larry Mazza. He doesn't act like these people do. Robert, damn, I forgot his last name. Borriello. Shout out to him. He doesn't act like these people. He's really redeemed himself. He's really reformed. And that's the type of stuff that people can look up to. They can't look up to this type of shit. These guys claiming to be all, oh, don't look up to these guys because they didn't kill anybody. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. They're all punks. Fucking punks. He's a weak rat. 100%, Mike. I agree with you. Now these two are going to sit down. Hey, bottom feeders deserve each other, you know? Let them fucking rock out. I got a question for you, Franchese. Let your daughter date this guy. Let him date her. Why not? He stuck up for her. So when he sits down with you, why don't you let him take her on a date? Right?
Little fucking midget mafia, Johnny Molino got something to say about me. Joey, you're 4'2". I see you in Tampa, I'll slap you around. Okay, you're the boss of 3 guys, the Philadelphia Mafia. If you actually be a member in your family, I'd rather be a Latin king. Okay? Get lost, you're an active mob boss on YouTube, you're a fucking clown turd.
I did this to the door. I pushed the door in.
You're a dirty hooer, that's what you are. Look, tell everybody how you fucked 100 guys. Tell everybody that on YouTube. Tell everybody that. Show everybody you fucked your neighbor. Matter of fact, let me go talk to Andrew.
I know we have, I can't really get in touch with you, so the bullshit we going through. It's fucking stupid ass fighting.
You want to play games? I'm stabbing every single one of them. Let him cop you. Go. Watch. I'm stabbing every single one of them. Let him cop you. Go. Watch. Watch.
Get my dog. Get my dog.
I'm going to show you time right now.
Get my dog.
You want to play games, right? I'm going to show you time.
Gangsta. Now, take their word for it. They're very tough guys. Fucking biggest clowns out there. Like, for real. It's insane. Hashtag save Ruffin. Brooklyn, how you doing, man? Rah, Maureen, Everett, how are you? Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Got a lot of people in the house. Mike Rocky, how are you? Franchese is a rat, 100%. Abbott. Abate. Abbott, right? How are you? Joe, what's good? Yeah, Franchise is a straight up rat. And the funny thing is, these people who cooperate, they're calling all these other people rats when they were cool with them before that. Like, they were cool with Michael. How are you? Shout out to Oregon. I did an interview with someone yesterday from Washington State. You guys will see that one soon. Shout out to Spider. And I had a really good conversation with a person. I had a really good conversation with a person this morning about content. And Pontiac, how are you? Hey, Bumper, come to the front of the class. Hey, we got one. You think you're smart, man. Don't hit the door on your motherfucking way out. Got them all the way down. Thank you. Appreciate that. Wow. I must have struck a nerve with someone there, huh? In the toilet they go. See you later. New to the channel. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. These people are reaching hard, huh? Real gangster. Hey, there are some real gangsters out there, but I'm not one of them. Never claimed to be. All these other people claim that I'm a gangster, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not. So let them say whatever they want. That's crazy. People seem to message me the same time I do a show every day. It's the same shit every day. Got to remember to shut my ringer off. That person does it in every chat. Yeah, they won't be doing it here anymore. Listen, I think they hate the success, but it's okay because we're going to keep being successful. We're going to keep rising to the top. We're doing things that other people aren't doing. And who cares what they do? I don't even look in their direction because they don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Now let's get back to the trash.
You know? So he says, and he claims that he started the gas scheme. He did not. Gas Pipe started the gas scheme.
That was wrong. Gas Pipe did not start the gas scheme. He did not. You're a fucking liar. You don't know shit. Let's hear about made men from the non-made men.
That was his thing. And then it went to the five families.
Please elaborate who's Gas Pipe.
He was the boss for the Lucchese family.
No, he wasn't. You need to go do your research. I'm not in the mafia, and I know more information than you do. You better go start reading or something. Oh, wait. He doesn't know how to read. Yeah, I saw Joey's last show. It was good. Shout out to AJ. Connecticut's own.
He was a psychopathic serial killing maniac, real gangster, bad guy.
Oh, wait, hold on. You said he's a real gangster, right? Because in a recent interview that your partner there did, your other rat friend, he said that Gas Pipe wasn't shit. So I'm not understanding. Please explain. Let's get it from
one of our latest episodes that we talked about.
Everybody knows. You're going to tell me they're not gangsters, they don't know what they're doing, they're not tough guys. No one's going to tell them what to do.
No, he was an underboss, Mike. He wasn't a boss. He was an underboss.
And when they walk around the prison system, no one does tell them what to do. Actually, they usually ask to help when guys like Sammy go to jail. You know, they look to pay him or they look for help out of him. So, you know, these are naive guys that don't really understand what they're talking about because they're not from the street. So they write, you know, some dumb comments in there. One of them also said that he's got integrity. Integrity? So we're going to go on to another show about him. There'll be a part 2. He has no integrity.
But he loved Sammy when he gave him money, right? To boost his ego. Johnny Boy loved him.
Partner in the porn in the street for
Jojo, how
child
are you?
pornography.
Oh, but you linked up with him. You wanted to be best friends with him, but you knew all this shit. That's what I don't understand. Once you guys have a falling out, all of a sudden you bring all his dark deeds to the surface when you knew all this shit before.
So, you know, we're going to go into that too. So there is no integrity. This is Sammy's way of mafia. He was a drug dealer. When he talks against drug dealers, he was selling.
Hey, come to the front of the class. Please raise your hand. Savage in my town. Raise your fucking hand. Let's get it. Don't hit your friend on the way down, bitch. We got another one. See you later. All right. Now that those turds are gone, let's get back to business.
Ecstasy, and he went back to jail for that. So, well, some of the comments I'm addressing, some of these dumb comments that I read.
What do you think is, I mean, there's like, it's funny because I think people think that there's like a...
Thank you, David. Hell yeah, we're grinding. We're getting things done. The numbers are going through the roof. And these people, listen, I heard someone said that they swear that I'm buying views and that I'm buying subscribers. They swear on their life. Well, you better go jump off a cliff or something. Because if I'm so broke, how am I buying subscribers? It just doesn't make sense, does it? We don't need to buy subscribers.
You know,
we get real love over here. We get real love over here. We got some real ones that watch this show. I don't pay for interviews. I don't pay for subscribers. I never have. I never will. That's the facts. Let them keep talking.
It's here, like, there's a lot of people that are loyal and defend him to with no regard. Like, why do you think that is? Why do you think people?
I think this guy, what's his name, Felix. He don't know shit. He's so naive to any of this. He has no clue.
Light with me as a guest.
Hey, what's going on? Jojo, down to the toilet we go. Wow, that's Gene right here reading this shit. Bye-bye. Go make another account. I'm having fun. Go ahead, make another account. My finger's not tired.
John A. Light was part of the Gambino family as an associate. He was working directly with John Gotti Jr. They were good friends from early on, teenagers, and he's been known as one of the main hitmen of the Gambino family, if not the main hitman.
The main hitman. You hear this shit? The main hitman in the Gambino family.
And so today's conversation is going to be more the Mafia series. Having said that, here's John A. Light. John, thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having me. I
appreciate it. So, you know, one of the questions before we get into...
Hold on, let me show you who Gene Barillo really is. Barillo Pad.
Paying for these women?
Yeah.
Paying for these women?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are they from again?
You're crazy.
It's fucking see-through. It's like skin. It's like, it's just like, there. It's fucking see-through. It's like skin. It's like, it's just like,
oh my god!
Where? 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 Paying for these women?
yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
Back in prison, 2 weeks out. Don't worry, he's working his way back. It's all good. Gangster, now that's gangster.
Everything that we got. How did you even
Frank,
get
how are
into
you?
having a relationship with John Gotti Jr.? How did that connection take place with the two of you?
I grew up
Toppy. It was good.
back in Woodhaven, Queens, Jamaica
Danielle.
Avenue. I grew up.
Jojo,
around
what's
the mob.
up?
So
James, how
before
are you?
Gotti Senior, Junior's father, took over the mob in our area as the boss.
All right, listen, you got to listen to this guy really close, all right? he says some things like that are so unbelievable. It'll blow your mind when you hear it.
Fat Andy Ruggiano was the boss, who I was close with the family.
He was not the boss. Fat Andy was never the boss.
With the sons, I played baseball with him. I used to box at the same gym.
And Ruggiano, Fat Andy's son, was not a gangster. He was not a made man. He was not a gangster. He was a drug addict. They did not want people like that in the mob. He was not a gangster. Just know that's a fact.
He was the Captain Gambino family that ran our area. When he went to prison,
Cindy, how are you?
And stepped in his shoes, and that's who you start reporting to, is whoever takes over that position.
So the introduction was made through
MBT,
the community. Did you kind of meet him? Were you guys friends? At what age did you meet John Gotti Jr.?
Well, Junior and me we knew each other when Junior was about 16 years old.
Boom, there you have it, 16 years old. Now, listen really close, because he's going to tell you that he was running a multi-million-dollar heroin operation right under Senior's nose. And Senior had no clue what was going on. It's fucking crazy.
I was a year older than him at 17. We were introduced through mutual friends, said hello, goodbye.
Hey,
he
what's
would
good,
come up
man?
to Jamaica Avenue once in a while, seeing a guy named Johnny Gebbett.
Pavel.
Actually, he's one of the guys I ordered his murder the first week I went into prison. I told him to hit this guy when I go to prison. So
I don't know who that is. Paps, have no clue. Don't know who that is. Nor do I care.
that was his introduction to me and him. And later on, that ended up being, I guess, me and Junior had that love-hate relationship since we're children.
Oh, since him 16, you 17. So right off the bat, you guys had a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, there was on his end, he needed us guys from Jamaica Avenue because he wanted to become, he had aspirations to be like his father. So he wanted to meet some tough guys in Jamaica.
Storefront sleepover. Listen, they didn't need John A. Light for any fucking thing.
Jamaica Avenue was where we grew up, were guys that didn't have money. We come from a poverty-stricken area. Where he grew up was a rich area.
So what? He grew up in a rich area. Yeah, I don't know who that is, Mickey. I have no clue, nor do I care. I don't recognize people I don't know. Yeah, I don't watch them. I don't know who they are, and I don't care who they are. Sakali is learning Brazilian prison pouch techniques. 100%. Some people actually listen to this guy and believe this was how it was. I know. They really do. They believe this shit. You believe that?
So in order for him to feel that he was...
Listen, I don't hate. Go watch whatever show you want, but I don't acknowledge people I don't know.
Was getting his feet wet in the street, he had to come up to Jamaica Avenue and meet me and some of my friends. So his initial friend was Johnny Gebbett, who was a street guy. I mean,
so at that age, 17, was his father already the boss of the Gambino family?
Watch, he wasn't. He was not.
Has it happened yet? Or Paul Castellano's event hasn't taken place
No,
yet?
it hasn't taken place.
Hasn't taken place.
No.
Okay.
No, they needed permission from Johnny Boy here to get the Castellano hit done. You have a great one, Cindy.
So at this point of where you're at, the community, are you in high school at 17, or you've already been out of school?
No, I'm in high school still.
And who are you in high school? If I went to school with you, who's John A. Light?
I was a guy that was known to be in the gyms boxing all the time.
Okay.
Boxing all the time. Now, how many people know John A. Light for boxing? I want a show of hands. Another thing, how many people know John A. Light for playing baseball and being a baseball guru? Anyone? Is there anyone out there that knows this guy for baseball? A. Light tells Gene, I put the Vaseline on its lips. He is an it. Hey, Green, what's going on? He's boxing apples.
Italian Hall was the gym. Big names at that time were at the gym was David Sears, and he
big names that I'm going to exploit right now that were at the gym that had no dealings with me.
Fought Spinks. He got knocked out very quick, but he was a great fighter, actually. Burt Young from Rocky owned him and managed him. Jerry Cooney. I did some shows with Jerry Cooney on his radio show. So Jerry Cooney was in that gym, same gym as me. And
yeah, but you probably had no fucking contact with him back then at all. What he does now, right? I've noticed this about Johnny Boy here. What he does, after he cooperated, he's known for being a fucking rat. That's the bottom line. He's a cooperator. So he likes to get other cooperators to vouch for each other. And then he gets people outside of that circle to vouch for them. He convinces people how big of a gangster he is. People that didn't have any clue who he was on the street. And I went to his neighborhood, Woodhaven. He was a tough guy. He wasn't like he says, but he was known in the neighborhood for being a tough guy, right? But I can guarantee you, he did not baseball bat no 100 people. You baseball bat one person, you're going to deal with some repercussions. You baseball bat 5 people, you're going to deal with a lot more repercussions. If you baseball bat 20 people, you're going to most likely get your ass killed. You know, they're not going to just let you keep walking around baseball batting anybody you think. So let's listen to his extravagant stories.
Andy's, Fat Andy Ruggiano's kids. Albert Ruggiano, great athlete and a fighter. So we all were in those gyms. Billy Streamy ends up getting killed also. A good
Fat
friend
Andy's
of mine.
kid. So this is like the place. This is the place. This is the tough guy's place where you're growing up at.
Oh, no doubt. We nicknamed our area Death Haven because most of these guys that we're going to speak about are dead. They all got killed. So, you know, I'm one of the lone survivors, I guess, over the years. And there's close to 100 guys that grew up with us in that neighborhood that lost their lives.
Now let me ask you, you said close to 100 guys that grew
yeah.
So growing up as a kid, at what age were you forced to be tough to survive in that area? Is it right like 5, 6, 7? How soon does it start?
My father was a fanatic.
Hey, you ready for this? Listen close.
About fighting and not getting bullied. So at an early age of 3 years old, we were actually working out, doing push-ups, and learning to jump rope.
3 years old.
3 years old.
3 years old.
A regiment of routine.
3 years old. His dad had him out there being a tough guy. He asked him, when did you start like being a tough guy? I have to be 3 years old. 3 years old. My dad handed me a baseball bat and said, "This is your life, son. Take care of business." He took to the streets. He was 3 and a half. I don't care. That's good for you, Cindy. Like, good for you. Why do you keep telling us? I don't care, okay?
Those were his 2 spots for us. So we were known, and my father was known in the area as king of the kids. He would bring kids down and learn how to box with us. And
my reaction is I don't know them, and I don't care. You go anywhere and watch anything. You don't need to explain it over and over and over. What are you trying to promote over here? Don't do that. All right? Thanks.
So some of our childhood friends, like Timmy Donahue, he's passed away also, was also learning to fight with us. My father brought us in and didn't want us to grow up in a neighborhood that was tough without being able to be tough.
So right off the bat, you're learning how to box.
Right off the bat.
Now, your dad, who was your dad personality-wise? Was he a gangster? Was he connected to anybody? Was he just a respected guy? Was he a money guy? Was he a worker? Who was your pops?
My dad grew up in Rivington and Delancey Street, which is a known hub, especially back when he grew up in the, you know, in the 40s and 50s with gangsters like.
So sensitive, because it's my fucking show. What the fuck are you talking about? Here, why are you so sensitive? See if this makes you sensitive, all right? Let's check it out. Ready? Bye. See how easy it is? Hold on, we got a couple more. We're gonna get rid of them. Fuck it, right? We don't give a fuck over here. You want to go? Bye bye. See ya. See how easy that is? Bye. Don't let the fucking door, the lid hit you. Fucking assholes. Ain't no sensitivity over here. Bye-bye, bitch. I'm not a tough guy. I never claimed to be. Now have fun. Goodbye.
Vito Genovese were down there, and guys like that, famous the gangsters in those days.
Real tough guy. You see what I'm saying? Real tough guy. Fuck you talking about? You guys are weirdos. But whatever.
So if he was a hang-around guy, he wasn't a shooter, he was a gambler, but he stood with all gangsters, and he was very friendly with Lucky Luciano's cousin.
Oh, that sucks, right? You can't watch? Fucking blows for you.
Charlie Luciano, we used to call him Blackie. So I was introduced to him as a young kid.
So now, how the fuck did he get introduced to Lucky Luciano? Does anyone know? Here, I'll tell you. We got someone who wants to tell you. That's how you got introduced. Let's hear it.
Was very familiar with the world of mob guys.
Was he trying to get you to stay away from the world? Like, what's the link? Was he kind of like, hey, you got to go out there and figure out a way to make money at all costs? What was the conversation like between you and your pop?
No, my dad was complete opposite. He was a gambler, a hustler, and
yeah, Gatesy introduced him. He stole this story from someone else. Going to need a snake for that toilet soon. There's a lot of fucking scumbags in there.
Didn't want me with the mob world, but at the same time, he was bringing me around these guys.
So in an earlier interview, he did not say this shit. He said his father had nothing to do with the mob world. And now he's saying his father bring him around all these guys. Like, make up your mind, bro.
So as he's telling me stay away, as I'm getting older, I'm getting attracted to the money, and I see my father struggling. And I see some of these guys, and they treat me well, and you know, I'm getting attracted to that life, and I want that life.
You wanted that life.
I wanted that life. My father wanted me to be a pro fighter.
Hey, Joe Blunts.
You know,
what's good, my friend? How you doing? Let's hear about the pro fighter.
So he had a different outlook on things, and he didn't think. In my father's mind, I'm very close to my dad, is to teach me to survive, for me to understand the mob world, but to be like him. Don't go and dive into that world. And I guess he thought that I would never dive in, I'd be like him. But it was the opposite. I went to the extreme the other way.
You went to the extreme the other way. Mom and dad both Albanian?
Both Albanian.
Yo, no one has the wrench no more. I took all the wrenches away. I'm gonna be giving out some wrenches. So if I feel you're a loyal subscriber, then they're pranksters, not gangsters. These people are so dumb. Like, so there was someone in the chat saying, "Oh, you're a real gangster." I'm not a fucking gangster. I never claimed to be one. So much for that hypothesis, fucking idiot.
Both Albanian. Okay.
Emerald, what's up?
Okay, got it. And so he's trying to, encourage you not to get in, but at the same time, you're around the environment, gambling, you're around. And at what age are you around these folks, by the way? Is it very, early?
Very young, early.
Very early.
Very young. I was sitting on Lucky Luciano's lap, no problem, every day.
Early.
Very early.
And are they taking a liking to you? Like, look, we like, is there a name? Hey, little Johnny, were you like somebody?
His name was Snaggletooth. That was his name. His name was, come here, Johnny Snaggletooth. We want to have a discussion with you, Mr. Snaggletooth. And then Johnny Boy would jump up in the middle of the living room and do one of these. He would dance the jig for him. Hey, Johnny, dance the jig for us. And then he'd say, hey, get your other buddy. Oh, yeah, he's on his way, but he's kind of tied up right now.
That was liked?
Yeah, I was a skinny little kid, but I was muscular because I was always doing push-ups and pull-ups. And so they used to joke, Johnny, walk on your hands, because I could stand on my hands. Johnny,
the feds are going to fix him, right?
And I was like a good dog doing tricks, right? I liked the attention that they kept saying I was tough.
He was a dog doing tricks.
Put their hands up, hit your hand, and then I'd hit their hands boxing a little bit. and they get a kick out of me, and I got a kick out of them getting a kick out of me. So
Interesting.
I continued with it.
Form of entertainment, form of acceptance. So what was the first experience of making money illegally or legally for you? At what
Let's
age?
hear it. You guys
Again,
ready?
I was in a,
Listen to this close, because he talks about his 10 million plus operation. Pretty wild.
in an environment that it was constant trouble, and it was constant gang related back in those days. You know, back in those days, there was a lot of racial tension because of the times. It was the 60s.
Yeah.
So I worked in a deli, and I spoke about this. It's called Dick's Deli, and it was a legitimate job. And in between going to
It's
box
called
and
Dick's.
playing baseball, I became the captain of the baseball team.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was called Dick's Deli. What the fuck?
In high school. I was working in this deli, but that deli introduced me to a couple things.
Anybody got a light? He got involved in the streets while still shit, dog.
A lot of my friends that were involved with a gang called 7 and 9.
Listen, there was no crime on the street until Eli stepped in the road.
That were very dangerous, and it was basically, it became a huge gang throughout all New York, not just our area. And it introduced me to the corner shop, the car service. It happened to be my girlfriend's father, and he was.
Did you see his picture from that time, or what? What picture? This one? Hold on, let me see. I got it. I don't know where it went. Oh, this one? Look, they're with all their friends. The Rat Mafia. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, him and his fluffy ass hair.
A gangster with the Lucchese family. And around the corner was a bookmaker, which was his brother, Louis Gaddy, and George Gaddy. And he ran the local bookmaking area and horse room.
How old are you at this time? When you're saying
I don't claim to be a tough guy by any means, but just thinking about any of these clowns trying to press me for anything, bro, if they could try, I'm not a gangster at all. Like, I'm not. I used to, like, think I was back in the day, but I'm not. Listen, I'm not a gangster. I'm not. And you're right, Mike. If any of these guys tried to press me, even now, I would fucking laugh in their face. I really would. If they even came at me with a gun, I would take their gun from them and beat them with their own fucking gun. And I'm not a gangster. I don't claim to be a gangster. I'm not a tough guy. This is for entertainment purposes only. Don't get it misconstrued. I'm not trying to challenge these guys. Trust me, if I ever see them in the street, I will defend myself, but I'm not going out of my way to wish harm on anyone. This is all for entertainment purposes only. So a lot of these people that watch this, I don't know, they got it fucked up in their brain or something. I really don't know what they're thinking, but they're like projecting some bullshit that's not true. It's crazy.
And maybe 15 when I started getting involved running slips for them, innocently.
At 15.
All right, 15, right? So he didn't know Junior yet. He didn't know him yet.
Yeah, I'm working in Dick's Deli, and they asked me, do me a favor and run it across the street. So innocently, I'm not looking to get involved to that extent. They're just guys telling me, hey, bookmakers and some tough guys and a couple killers that later on at that age, I still don't realize they're killers. They were humble guys, and people.
They matter. These bums to spread, to go back to jail. Matter of fact, Staxx, they might turn state's evidence if they get scared to. 100%. Listen, they're already cooperating against each other as it is. Like, it's crazy. This guy Barillo Pad got arrested down there in Florida. He goes up to New York, and he ratted on his friend that fucking wrote the letter for him for court. Like, the guy's doing you a favor, and you tell on him. You say, oh, I didn't tell him to write the letter. He just wrote it for me. Like, why would you throw your friend under the bus? Oh, wait, I know why. Because you're not a gangster. You're not a gangster. Don't claim to be something you're not.
I have the idea the loudest man in the room is the toughest, and it's complete opposite. The guys I've learned to look up to are guys like Charlie Luciano.
Okay, yeah, Charles Luciano, the guy that sat you on his lap, right? You said the loudest guy is not the toughest, right? Then what the fuck is this?
And Mike Francis gives a story how he sat with John Gotti. He took that scene out of the movie The Godfather. Literally, if you watch it, it's the same exact scene that he did in The Godfather.
How much was it for him to get his eyebrows edged up? Just curious.
When he had to sit down with John Gotti, he took it, and they actually showed it on an interview how much he was lying about it.
He took it. He really took it.
So like I said, I'm not here.
Looks like your lips took it too.
I just don't like someone that's a con artist to the people. I'm real. I tell you my story and what I was doing.
Hey, you don't got to take his word for it. We got proof of what he was doing. All the way.
You, but I'm gonna fix it. I did this to the door. You, but I'm gonna fix it. I pushed the door in. 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 I did this to the door. Yes, I pushed the door in.
And his car is on file.
Yours. But I'm gonna fix it. But I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it.
So if I get charged for this,
You're not being charged. You're not being charged. You're not being charged. You're not being charged.
I'm the one who's taking you. Word.
That's what he was doing. This is his resume. Yeah. Stalking. And he's got a pending case for the shit right now. So, those are the types of people that Michael Franchisi wants to have on his show. Let him date your daughter, Franchisi, right? He's not a bad guy. Give him the 150th chance. He deserves it.
No, he's full of shit. And that's when I'm stick to my guns. You know what I mean? That's how I am. So as far as people saying they only know what he tells them, I'm telling you from the inside out.
Okay, so what are you doing? They only know what you're telling them. But we have proof otherwise, on the contrary.
The door.
I did this to the door. I pushed the door in.
You ruined it.
Oh, wait, that's not the same door, right? So he's the door fixer. This guy will fix any door out there. He's fixing it for you.
I was involved. You know, nobody in the mafia was ever making $10 million a week. Never.
Oh, no? Well, let's hear your boyfriend talk about making $10 million a week. You ready?
Humble and quiet and gentleman. And those are the guys when they turn that switch on and kill. And I try to mimic those guys as I got older.
It's funny, Gianni Russo also said in New York he would run. He was a runner at 14, 15 years old for Frank Costello. Is what he was doing that for when he was doing certain favors for. So at what point were you kind of like, well, you know, I'm running, I'm doing this, but I'm seeing the lifestyle. Maybe there's a bigger opportunity here. Where was that opening? Was there anything that was, you know, was it accidental? Was it intentional? How did it happen?
Well, I didn't have to really, after doing that, I didn't have to get any further introduction because I'm working and I'm making $75 a week in the deli, basically working full time for the whatever minimum wage was back then. And
John Elite in the house, former enforcer and hit.
He said his fucking name wrong. All right, you ready? You ready for this? This is funny. So you heard him on the other interview, right? Now listen to him on this one.
Man for the Gotti and Gambino crime family. Huh?
Look at his fucking face.
Is that a fair description of your former life?
Yeah, that's a fair description.
It's a fair description of my life. Yep, that's total true. This fucking guy.
My former life, yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is your first time here, so let's go ahead and get into your whole story. So your family's actually Albanian.
Correct.
Let's get into the bullshit.
Okay. And I guess your grandfather came over?
Yeah, my grandfather came over initially, yeah. Left the rest of the family in Albania.
Okay.
Why did he do
your dad was
that?
actually born here as well as you.
No, my dad was born in Albania. And my grandfather went back a couple of times, and then he eventually brought the whole family here.
Got it. Got it. So here you are, you're growing up in this Albanian family, and this was in Queens?
Queens, yeah. Woodhaven, Jamaica Avenue.
Got it.
I went to Woodhaven, Jamaica Avenue, and I asked people in the streets about this guy. They said, you know what they said his nickname was? Does anyone know? Anyone in the chat? Do you know what his nickname was in Woodhaven, Queens? Does anyone know? Anyone? His nickname was the Sheriff. The Sheriff. Pretty wild. Yeah.
And growing up, you had a fairly rough childhood. It was, I guess your dad raised you guys to be fighters at a very early age.
How old again?
Yeah, well, you know, because of the situation in Albania, suppression, and, you know, when he came to the city, he grew up himself in Delancey and Rivington, which was back then known as a big hub for gangsters like Vito Genovese and guys like that. So he understood the street, and he understood.
Listen, he's getting his stories a little fucked up now. He didn't mention Vito Genovese on the other interview. Not at all.
Suffering, so he wanted to make sure that me and my brother and some of my cousins can handle ourselves.
And your dad actually beat you quite a bit at an early age.
He wasn't, you know, these days it depends on what you say. Like growing up when he was hitting us, it was a normal thing for families and parents to hit their kids. So I had a close relationship with my father. I never looked at it as he was an abuser. Like, you know, these days they say they're abuser if you slap their hand. So I just took it as my father disciplining me, and rightfully so. Because
no, that's not an abuser. An abuser is
Paying for these women? Yeah. Paying for these women?
Yeah. No. Little fucking midget mafia, Joey Molino got something to say about me. Joey, you're 4'2". I see you in Tampa, I'll slap you around.
To the door.
I did this to the door. I pushed the door in.
That's an abuser.
look what happened to me. So I don't think him trying to discipline me was anything than a parent, you know, loving their kid and discipline. So yeah, I didn't look at it that way. Yeah.
Okay, and I read your book, and one of the things I found kind of interesting was in your household, in your neighborhood, not only was your dad hitting you, but I guess your uncles were allowed to hit you, and your neighbors even were allowed to hit you.
Wow. Imagine your parents let your neighbors hit you. I've never heard of nothing like that in my life. Now, how many people in here would let their neighbors hit their kids if they were bad? Hey, if my kid's bad out here, you have every right to hit them, all right? You must not have cared too much about your kid.
Well, my neighbor across the street was Guido Russo, and he was very good friend. He was a butcher, and he was a gambler like my dad, and he and his wife Loretta were very close to us. They were almost like an aunt and uncle to us. And so if we did something wrong and he seen it, yeah, he would discipline us also. And, you know.
Frank said some Philly guys want his ass, not even connected to Joey. Wow, interesting.
This was normal for me growing up to be hit by neighbors, by uncles, and in that generation, I think it was almost normal in most of the households in my neighborhood anyway.
And according to your book, your dad really didn't care whether you won or lost a fight, just as long as you didn't back down.
Yeah, he didn't want me to be a coward, actually. So my biggest fear when I was a kid was facing my father, not facing one kid or 5 kids on the street. He just wanted me to say I fought and didn't let anybody take advantage of me, which I thought, as I got older, I thought was a good thing also.
That's why we all only have one brain cell left, because we watch this shit.
He believed in.
Well, here you are growing up in this household.
Only the police were nice to him. I believe that 100%. Only the police were nice with him. Said he ratted anyway, so anything he says doesn't matter. Thunder lips. Thunder lips. It's crazy. Listen, you asked, right? You asked for it. Let's see. Yeah. You asked for it. You got it. Nah. You asked for it, Bobo Camp, and you got it. Dumb and dummy.
And, you know, the violence starts early on. But in the beginning, it's just, you know, fists and slaps and stuff like that. And at one point, it actually starts to escalate into stabbings and baseball bats and so forth. So at what point were weapons used in your first encounter?
3 years old.
Well, me personally using weapons, my friends would, the situation in my life was everybody was violent. Between my uncles, my father, the people that were around, gangsters, and then my friends were all violent. So I think I was a little behind the starting point of most of my friends. So I think I watched.
So I know what he does. You know what he does? Every situation he's ever seen in his life, like if his friend baseball batted someone, he took that situation and he used it as his own. So he did it. If he was around something that happened, he did it. If he heard about something that happened, he did it. He did everything. He baseball batted everybody.
A lot of my friends on the street using guns, knives, and bats from 12 years on up, believe it.
Liar. So listen, I know someone personally, shout out to you, I know you're watching, who baseball batted someone. This is one person he baseball batted. I'm sure he's baseball batted other people, but one person he baseball batted, he broke their arms, their legs, he cracked their head in. He fucked them up really bad. He went to prison for that shit. So you're not baseball batting all these fucking people like 20, 30, 40. He says he baseball batted like hundreds. You're going to hear it for yourself. Doesn't happen.
Age, these guys were in Spofford and they were in the rehabilitation places and in and out of juvie. And I actually was a little nicer kid, a little slow behind the mark of the rest of the guys. But
don't worry, his day's coming, 100%.
I guess the first time I actually jumped in and used a bat or something like that was probably about 15 years old, 16 even, I don't know, something like that.
Okay, so 15, 16 years old, you get into a fight and you pull out a baseball bat.
I don't know if it was just, no, it was never a one-on-one thing pulling out a
fucking liar. So someone's beating your ass and you need to pull out a baseball bat, right?
Bat, no. So if it was pulling out a bat, it was either group thing of guys fighting and you're using a bat more as a defense thing, and I learned to be very aggressive with it. In other words, if I want to pull a bat, and the same later on in years, if I'm going to pull a knife or a gun, I'm going to use it. It wasn't just to pull it to scare somebody. I didn't have that mentality. I have the mentality to be aggressive.
Well, the first time you hit someone with a bat, how did you react afterwards?
It was no big thing because he didn't do it. It was no big deal because he didn't really do it. It's all in his head. So, you know, he explains it right here.
I was used to violence, so blood never, like, you know, me and my brother talk about this all the time. You know, we're 3, 4 years old, you know, most kids when they're bleeding, they're crying for their mother. We were just used to getting bloodied up. I mean, me and my brother are still that way. You know, at this age, we're aggressive with our mouths, we're aggressive with weapons.
There you are.
And we're aggressive with each other.
He's aggressive with his mouth.
Those bats threw each other through windows. I mean, my brother threw me through a second floor window. So
who doesn't do that with their brother? I got a brother, me and him fight all the time. We used to fight all the time. I hit him in the head with a can of green beans once. Bunk, right off his head. My brother fucked me up a bunch of times, but hey, that's having a brother. That's what happens when you have a brother. You guys fight, you know?
Just used to it, and then at the end of the day, we end up making up, hugging each other, and say, "I love you." I mean, it's just our mentality. We're just a little dysfunctional, but you know, that's life.
Okay, your brother threw you through a second-story window.
Well,
Okay. All right. Your brother threw you through a second-story window. Okay.
landed on a roof. He
Oh, so he really didn't throw you through a second-story window. He threw you through a window onto the second-story roof. You should tell the truth, Johnny.
did try to grab my leg at the time.
Oh, to save you from going over the edge of the second-story window, huh?
Save me. He wasn't looking to kill me. And in return, I hit him with a club. It was actually a piece of wood from one of the trees. I broke it over his ribs. And
You mean a stick, Johnny? Yeah, it was a stick. I named it a club, though, but it was really a stick.
I broke his rib. So this was, we were just.
You broke his fucking rib with a twig off the tree that he threw you out of the fucking second-story window. Okay, we believe that shit.
This is us.
This is us, total liars.
Got it. Okay, so then around 17, you started getting into stabbing.
Yeah. About, I guess around 16, somebody tried to shoot me, a guy named Patty Antique. And
he pulled out a knife and stabbed him over and over and over. And the guy didn't shoot him at all. He deflected each bullet with the blade.
You know, I was around the Ruggiano family, who was Fat Andy.
Not a gangster.
Ruggiano was actually straightened out from in the early 50s by Albert Anastasia. So when this guy tried to shoot me as a kid, I went to Albert and these guys. And
Wait. Okay, listen, because he just got caught in a lie. Did you hear what he just said? He said somebody stabbed him when he was a kid. So he went to Albert. He went to Albert Anastasia. He said it. You guys are going to believe him, right? I mean, he said he went to Albert Anastasia. Let's see. All right, he went to Albert Anastasia, right? He died in 1957, okay? He died on October 25th, 1957. October 25th, 1957. This is very easy to debunk them. Oh, Mr. Johnny Eletto here was born in 1962. So you tell me here. Tell me, how did he meet Albert Anastasia? How did he go to Albert Anastasia when he wasn't fucking born yet? September 30th, 1962, he was born. But he went to Albert because he got stabbed. Let's hear it again.
Around 17, you started getting into stabbing.
yeah. About, I guess around 16, somebody tried to shoot me, a guy named Patty Antique. And you know, I was around the Ruggiano family, who was Fat Andy Ruggiano was actually straightened out from in the early 50s by Albert Anastasia. So when this guy tried to shoot me as a kid, I went to Albert and these guys.
You can't fucking make this shit up, man. He went to Albert and them guys. Would you go to his grave and say, I'm getting my revenge?
And the son of Fat Andy Ruggiano, Anthony and Albert, and they helped.
Oh, you went to Anthony, right? Oh, the non-gangster. Anthony was a drug addict. He was a straight cokehead. He wasn't a gangster. He was never made. He was just the son of Fat Andy. He was not a gangster.
With the guy, and so you know the violence started very young for me. I understood the mob at this point pretty well.
Okay, you heard what he just said, right? Now, what age did he just say that he understood the mob very well? Around 17, right? 17 years old, right? Listen close.
If George or Louis had a good week and their runners, Ito, he was also a professional boxer. Ito was a gangster, and Mousy, another guy. When they were having a good week, they tipped me 20, 50, 100. So at the end of the week, I'm getting 75 from the deli, and these guys maybe on a good week are giving me 300.
Now, he worked at the deli. Listen, let's follow this. $75 a week, right? That's how much he was making. He said 300 at the most he would make. So let's listen close.
And you're talking about when I'm a kid, when 300 is like 3,000.
What year is this?
This is 1975, 76, 77. Like that.
1975, huh? So in 1975, Johnny Boy here, he was 8 years old. Johnny Boy here was 8 years old, making all this money. I call bullshit.
Money right there.
A lot of money.
Yeah. For a 14, 15-year-old kid making $300.
Yeah.
That's a fucking lie. He just lied. Blatant lie. He said he was 14 in 1975. He was not 14. Was he? Let's do the math. No, he was 12. I call bullshit.
A week on top of the 75. So okay, so now you meet Gotti.
All right, now you meet Gotti. You ready for this? You ready? We're gonna catch him in a fucking stupendous lie right now. You ready for this one?
You're 17, he's 16. Where does the relationship go to, you know, come on in, let's do some more work together? How does that happen?
Well,
all right, hold on. We got to go to the other one.
Okay, and you got stabbed yourself.
I got stabbed up, batted, hit by a car, piped. I've been through the mill.
Piped.
Shot in the upper thigh.
Probably shot himself.
Years later, but yeah.
Okay, but at 17 you got stabbed.
Yeah, 17, a little older than I think it was 18 or so, something like that. But yeah, at a young age.
Okay, and you were in the hospital for a while over that.
I was in and out of the hospital about 3 or 4 times that year. Over.
He pulled the tubes out and walked out and took care of business.
For me being stabbed, I was stabbed at the same time. I got my jaw broke. I broke my arm. They were piping me and batting me also.
They were piping him.
Nickel diamond in the drug business. Albert Ruggiano was my, you know, what you would say.
Did you see that fucking guy? Does he look like he's really making it in the drug business?
Go to, you know, come on in, let's do some more work together. How does that happen?
Well, I'm nickel diamond in the drug business.
Look at him.
Car, so yeah.
Did you see him?
You know, most people, after they get stabbed, they say, okay, I think I have had enough of this. I'm going to go do something else. But you did not.
No, my mentality again was not to be a quitter and to be aggressive. So probably after about, I was in intensive care on and off. I was having complications. When I got out of intensive care, I pulled all the tubes out. I had a friend of mine, Mark Caputo, that stayed with us, pick me up and take me out in a wheelchair. We went out a side entrance, and I went to go shoot one of the guys that stabbed me up. So, and then I almost died from pulling out those tubes. And the doctor at the time, obviously, wasn't happy, threatened me if I ever did that again, he wouldn't bring me back into a hospital.
Okay, was that the first time you shot at somebody?
Nah, at this point, I'm already involved in shootings, with either as a driver or a guy that was shooting guys. Over the years, I just kept shooting guys as things went on, either for business or personal.
Okay, and you grew up around the Gambino crime family.
Correct.
And I guess Fat Andy, who was a capo for the Gambinos, he ran the area that you lived in.
He was a boss in our neighborhood, and at the same time, just coincidentally, my father's guy was Charlie Luciano, who we call Blackie, who was a Gambino made guy at the time from Jersey faction that my uncle and my father are involved with. So it happened to be the same crew, and so I was around the Gambino family since a baby through my parents, my father and my uncle, and then later on through Fat Andy Ruggiano, yeah.
I mean, and just to put it in perspective, according to articles and so forth, the Gambino crime family at the time was the wealthiest and most powerful crime syndicate in the world.
All right, listen close, because he was the one running the Gambino family. It wasn't John Gotti. He was the front boss.
Well, you know, as a kid, you don't know that, but you do know that you like and respect what you're seeing in the men that are around you as a kid. You know, I looked at them as my, you know, surrogate fathers, uncles, and stuff like that. And the Ruggiano family themselves were very good to me. Albert and Anthony, Fat Andy's son, and actually I have his nephew here with me today.
Dingleberry. He's got his nephew Dingleberry with him today. No.
Borello. So, you know, this family has been around with my family since I'm baby, and Gene's been around me since he was born. And
Wait. Did you hear that? Because Gene did not know Eletto on the street, and now all of a sudden they were with each other since he was born. Kinda odd, isn't it?
Albert Ruggiano was my, you know, what you would say umbrella, and he's a couple years older than me. And if I had any issues, I would bring it to Albert. At the time, his dad was still the boss. And when his dad
was not the boss. Hey, Laura, how are you? Happy Friday. Staxx, you have a great shows, but this is too comedic. This knucklehead is delusional, comical. Hey, that's what it's about. It's about entertainment. These guys are fucking circus entertainers. And I'm the ringleader. Now watch it.
leaves, I'm also dabbling in a bookmaking business.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
So it just carries on from generations, I guess. We're brought down from generation to generation, involved in the street.
Yeah, he knew Sammy too since the beginning, right?
So initially you started drug dealing, and
here we go. Here's the good shit. You guys ready for this? It gets good here.
you started with weed.
Just chilling. What's up, man? I'm just chilling. Frank, what's good? Salvatore, how are you? Laura, Bobo Camp. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to help out the channel, you can hit up the Cash App and Chatting with Staxx. You can hit up Venmo, PayPal, Super Sticker, Super Chats, all that good stuff. I appreciate every single dollar that comes in. I got a bunch of donations the other day, and if I forgot anyone, I apologize. Every dollar goes a long way, and I appreciate you guys. You have no idea. It really helps. So if you guys want to donate, be my guest.
And it moved up to heroin.
I was more of a cocaine dealer, but yeah, the heroin because of...
All right, so he said he was a cocaine dealer, but the heroin, watch how big of a heroin dealer he turns into. You ready?
Angela Ruggiero, and at the time, DiGiorgio was a relative of Vicky Gotti Sr., John Gotti Sr.'s wife, and John Gotti asked, Angela asked me to start moving heroin on a small level compared to those guys, but yeah, I got into the heroin.
Did you hear him? At a small level. John Gotti asked him to get involved. Miles, thank you for the donation. Appreciate you.
Heroin business.
Okay, and were you affiliated with the Gambinos at this point once you started drug?
Listen close.
Drug dealing?
Oh yeah. I was always affiliated since I'm a kid. Yeah.
No, he wasn't. He just said he didn't meet Gotti Jr. until he was, what, 14, 15? He said he had some association with Fat Andy's non-gangster son. But listen close, it gets good.
Okay. And, well, originally, Carlo Gambino started the Gambino crime family. He died of old age.
Correct.
Passed away at his house, I believe. And Paul Castellano.
Paul Castellano was Carlo Gambino's nephew, or they were cousins or something like that. And he passed the reins over to Paul because he was a good businessman. That's the reason why.
Paul Castellano.
Castellano, sorry. So Paul Castellano, a.k.a. Big Paul, he took over as the boss.
Hey, Tommy Stiggs, what's up, man? Would have asked him, what does Omerta mean? It means Gene's arm. It means they don't fucking stand for shit. What district attorney would ever put Eli on the witness stand? Hey, they realized that it was a terrible mistake, and that's why John Jr. won his trial. That's why. Because of this guy. Because he wasn't credible, and they found him not to be credible at all.
And he was known as the Howard Hughes of the mob.
Correct.
Why that name?
Because he was a big money maker. He was Carlo's brother-in-law, and a lot of people were against him becoming a boss because he wasn't a street guy, you know, per se. He was a money maker, not with his own by his own hand, a tough guy, old school guy like Neil Della Croce, who was the underboss. And a lot of people bucked it. Me personally, over history, I thought it was a good decision.
You thought it was a good decision. How old was he when Carlo died? Because that's when the reins got switched. Now let's check it out. Let's check it out. We're gonna fucking get to the bottom of this shit. Carlo died in 1976. And this kid was born in 72 or 62. Oh, would you look at that? You were 14 years old. Yeah, he was 14 years old when he died. So, yeah, he had the ends, huh? He really had the ends. Michelle, how are you? Thanks for joining me. He was 14.
Money brings power, and I think Paul brought a lot of power to the Gambino family because of the money.
I think you brought a lot of power to the Gambino family, John.
Did you have a relationship with him at all?
No, I mean, I knew him, but I didn't have a relationship. I was too young. I was just coming up when he became the boss, and so I was a kid still. You know, back then there was more structure, I think, in the mob than there is today.
They would have never had a conversation with this fucking dingleberry at all.
It was more you go to your guy, who your guy is, Andy. If I had to say anything past hello, if I saw Paul or Neil, that's all I get. I mean, you don't disrespect anybody, especially at that young age. You're intimidated to even try to go to them. But I knew better. I was raised around the mob, so I knew if I had to say anything or even wish them something, if somebody was born in their family or a wedding, you still ask your guy, which would be Fat Andy, can I step up to him and say congratulations? And you have to get your permission first. I mean, some of that structure and some of the rules have changed over the years, and I said this is what weakens the mob, in my opinion.
Yeah, they make little kids, right? Little kids are in the household when the boss is in the house. They make them ask for permission to even say anything. They can't just say, hey. Like, they got to ask, hey, can I ask for permission? I know what's his name was born. He's saying that was when he was 14 years old. Fuck out of here.
Okay, so now you're affiliated with the Gambino crime family, but you're not actually a made man.
No, I can't be. I'm Albanian.
Right.
For life, yo.
But you start with the drug dealing, and at one point you build up to about $1 million a month.
All right, you ready? You ready for this bullshit? Listen close, it gets good.
Correct. Probably more. I mean, that's a conservative number. And, you know, I got guys that work for me like Stevie Newell I shot. And later on, was around with the Gaudis and during some of this nonsense that went on, and he says that I'm being too conservative with that number. And this is a guy that worked for me. He said, I think at the time, he was one of my lower level guys, and he was making 15, 20,000 a month. So I think that number is conservative for what we were doing, but for sure $1 million.
Okay. $1 million in the heroin business. And let's just listen.
Okay. But $1 million, that's just the gross. How much were you bringing in a month in terms of profit?
No, that's not the gross.
No, that's not the gross. The gross? About 10 million.
I'm talking about profit, yeah.
No.
So, and I
So
think
you were
it was,
doing multi-millions per month in gross.
yeah, I mean, you know, I got guys around me. I have, I don't know how many guys around me, but I got a good 25, 30 guys that are around me on a regular.
He's got about 25, 30 guys around him on a regular basis. He's raking in, you know, millions about the gross.
And Gebbit has a problem with Gotti on the street with some Jamaicans. They rob.
Or it had never happened before?
No, you know, most of my friends, unlike what people think, because they know my history now, they think I was a wild kid with guns and knives and bats. So I was kind of innocent compared to them. I wasn't running around with guns. I was fighting with my hands.
Wait, what? On the other interview, you said you had bats and knives and shit. What the fuck are you talking to? You said you were shooting people.
As I'm getting acclimated with all my friends and surrounding people that are surrounded around my life.
You mean when other people are doing the shit that you claim that you did? Is that what you mean, John?
I start slowly picking up knives, bats, and then I go into the guns. So after that shooting with Gebbit, I think that opened the door for people to say, oh, this kid will do anything.
Got it. So what was your first experience with knives and bats? Was it still in your teens or?
Oh, yeah, it was in my teens.
Oh, it was in your teens?
Yeah. By the time I'm 17, I start using a bat like crazy, too.
At 17?
17. By the time I'm 19, I've stabbed a couple guys, batted a couple of guys. I got stabbed up and batted myself at 19. I almost lost my life that year. I was in and out of hospitals for about a year. And now I really understood the life.
He just said he didn't know shit. Now he really understood the life. Listen, this is very confusing. I know it is, people, but try to follow.
And I started to understand as I'm climbing up the ladder, I'm losing my cousin, Patsy Adriano Sr. gets killed, and Mikey Merlo gets killed, and Billy Estrema gets killed. And
what is this doing to you? When this is happening and you're seeing people that are friends, family getting killed, are you getting the retaliation blood in you, or no? You're just kind of seeing what's going on, you got to protect yourself.
No, I'm getting like you're doing as a journalist and as an interview person, and you develop and you become top in your field, right? You become somebody that's going to be the best, and you're going to do your homework, and you're going to study, and you're going to make sure that you don't make mistakes, and you're going to go as close as you can, as 100%.
You know, like in the field, I'm going to really do my research and try to get all my facts of the fucking lies that you tell, right? Huh? Is that what you mean?
For sure, $1 million.
Okay.
Business. So I decided I'm not going to be the next victim like all my friends. They're all getting killed out of stupidity, out of trusting. So you got to cut those odds down. And I said to myself, I'm going to be very aggressive, and I'm going to understand I'm not 14 or 15 or 16 anymore. When someone comes after me, they know I'm dangerous now. They're going to come to kill me. So
who are you trusting at that time? Do you have people that you trust?
I'm Albanian.
Right. But you start with the drug dealing, and at one point you build up to about $1 million a month.
Correct.
Nah, listen close.
Probably more. I mean, that's a conservative number, and you know, I got guys that work for me like Stevie Newell I shot, and later on he was around with the Gaudis and during some of this nonsense that went on, and he says that I'm being too conservative with that number. And this is a guy that worked for me. He said, I think at the time, he was one of my lower level guys, and he was making 15, 20,000 a month. So I think that number is conservative for what we were doing, but for sure $1 million. I had a ton of guys. As I'm getting older and I'm moving in the drug business, bookmaking business,
Right.
I have dozens of guys that work for me, and it goes into hundreds later on as I keep getting older and I start my own crews and with the okay of the Gambino family.
Wait. Hold on. So now you're dealing drugs, you're making over $1 million a week, and you got the okay from Gotti Sr. and the Gambino family?
Okay. But $1 million, that's just the gross. How much were you bringing in a month in terms of profit?
No, that's not the gross. I'm talking about profit. Yeah. So,
Okay.
and I
So
think
you were doing multi-millions per month in gross.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got guys around me. I have, I don't know how many guys around me, but I got a good 25, 30 guys that are around me on a regular basis. And these guys have guys around them who have guys around them. So, you know, it's very hard to put a real number on what all these guys are making. But, you know, we're running a major organization, not just for myself, but for the, you know, Gambino family.
He's running it.
Okay. Now, originally when you're getting involved with the Gambinos, John...
He's running the Gambino family. Listen to this, because this is going to all fucking make sense, right?
John Gotti Sr. is still alive. But your relationship was more with John Gotti Jr. because you guys are more the same age.
Well,
okay, hear the bullshit. Here starts to spew right now. Well, it's been spewing, but you guys hear fucking million? No, that's not the profit. That's not the gross.
No, not really. I mean, my day-to-day is to, you know, we're all given guys, and the father would give me and Bobby Borriello at the time to John Gotti Jr. So he's got to justify, you know, you're trying to justify certain guys in the life as tough guys, as money makers, and you got to give them a crew to have around them. So, yeah, I was around staying with John Gotti Jr. more as a protection thing for him, justify him as a street guy, and at the same time, I'm answering to John Gotti Sr. and his brothers as far as what they would say is I'm directly with the regime. I'm a big earner on the street, and I become a guy that's well known with different crews, and I'm trusting my guys, and I'm also trusting the mob almost blindly, you know, believing that there's loyalty and there's honor and there's no treachery.
He just said on the other interview that he didn't trust anybody. He knew he was going to be top in his field. His friends were getting killed by people he was loyal to. He said he knew not to trust anybody. But do you hear? Why is he changing his tone?
Still naive, right? I'm a young kid that loves this life, believes in it. And as I...
Oh, look at him. Now that's what you were doing, Johnny boy. You were having a sleepover. Stop with the fucking bullshit, man. Like, really, it's getting old, man. Just stop. Dude, they were throwing fucking quarters at you to dance around. That's it, man. Be honest. This is what you want it to be. In your head, this is what really happened, right? But in real life, Johnny boy, this is what really happened. So just stop. Just stop, man.
Start seeing some things as I'm getting older and understanding there is no honor. It's treachery. There is no love. It's only about money. It's only about an individual surviving. And I'm watching as I'm going through the life and getting bigger and stronger in this life and being more successful, that I'm watching gangster made guy after made guy, you know, cooperating, ratting, breaking the oath, our laws, our rules.
What's this our shit? You weren't a part of anything. And people weren't cooperating like that until Sammy cooperated. Then it was like a fucking waterfall of people cooperating. Sammy was not saying that other people didn't cooperate, but Sammy was the floodgates. Because once he cooperated, it was all bets off.
That I live by, although I'm Albanian.
That doesn't make sense, John. You just said that you live by that oath, but you're Albanian?
But what was the first request that made by maybe, you know, John Jr.'s father that came down? Did you have a meeting with John Sr.?
Yeah, he told me to go get a gallon of milk. Be honest, man. He told you to go get a fucking loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. Stop with the bullshit.
Have you had multiple meetings with them?
Oh, at this point, I've met Gotti Sr., Angelo Ruggiero. I got to report to the club 24 hours a day, 7 days a week when I'm called. I have to be there early.
You mean Junior had to report to the club? You're a fucking liar.
Crew itself.
So at one point, Big Paul and his bodyguard gets shot to death outside of Sparks Steakhouse.
Yeah, I orchestrated the whole thing.
Which they say the order came from John Gotti.
Well, Tommy Bellotti is the right-hand man to Paul Castellano, also his driver, who was one of the guys that at the time would be up for position to take over if something happened to Paul. So he was kind of, he was going to have to go if Paul was going to have to go. If there was going to be a move against Paul, Tommy had to go also. Because Tommy would have retributed what was planned against Paul. So, but
listen, John had no fucking idea any of this shit was going to take place. None whatsoever. John Jr. had no clue this shit was going to take place.
John was one of the guys that obviously masterminded it to put himself in a position as boss, yes.
Who was the shooter? Was that ever
Yeah, that's
no?
There's several guys there at the scene. Johnny Cornelia's name's been popped up through different guys' conversations. Sammy Gravano, obviously on the scene, said that Johnny was one of the main shooters. And from what I understood, a couple of guys that were there, one of the guns jammed, and Johnny did the shooting on both Tommy and Paul. He killed both of them.
All right, so let me hear you straight, right, Johnny boy? You think you know it, right? So he shot Tommy Bellotti in the middle of a crowded fucking street corner, right? There was all these guys with guns, but one guy killed Tommy, ran around the fucking car, killed Paul too. You're a fucking liar. I don't believe you. I don't believe a fucking word out of your mouth.
There was other guys at the scene. Tony Roach, Tony Rampino was one of the guys there. Eddie Lino. So,
but they didn't shoot. They just watched.
Most of the guys that were the close interfaction of the Gottis were on the scene at that time.
How come you weren't there, gangster?
Morning like a job.
How old are you at the time? 18 plus?
Yeah, about 19 more so, 19.
Well, he wants to be Junior so bad, but you can't, John.
It's about the time I get stabbed up and everything. And I don't come a couple of times, and I think Gotti Sr. at this time thinks I'm just one of his son's friends, and I don't need to be there.
He thinks I'm one of his son's friends. He thinks he's one of his son's friends. And he doesn't need to be there.
Shooting.
Okay, so it wasn't just one hitman. It was a whole crew of guys came in and took him out.
Yeah, listen, he wasn't leaving that area alive. Oh, these guys knew they were going to get killed. So no matter what happened, whether the police happened up on him, that was going to end that night right there on that street corner in front of Sparks.
I interviewed Michael Franzese.
Correct.
And he said that after Paul got killed, no one really shed a tear because a lot of people felt he was greedy and he wasn't really sharing his money.
Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be guarded. On the street, it's more serious because if you offend somebody, you do something wrong. Like Paul Castellano, he didn't have a lot of people like him because they thought he was greedy. He didn't make people around him make money.
Well, you know, you're going to get different opinions of who liked Paul, who didn't. And again, no disrespect to Michael, but Michael wasn't part of our Bugatti.
You weren't part of the Bugatti either there, Chief.
And I get a knock on my door, and it's my grandmother upstairs. We live in the same house. And she says, Johnny, there's a big black car outside, and there's somebody's out there.
Listen to the fucking bullshit lies. Now, he's going to say that John Gotti went to his house, said, you fucking come when I call you.
It's Gotti Sr.'s brothers. It's Pete Gotti and Richie Gotti. At the time, both guys aren't made guys. And they said to him, hey, where the fuck are you? And his brother, he says, what are you talking about? He says, my brother's looking for you. And I look at him funny like, and then I start realizing, wait a second. You know, to myself a split second, and I go back upstairs and I come down and I says, let's go. And they said, you know, he wants to talk to you. So that's when I realized that I'm just not some kid to him. I'm not his son's friend. We're not in a gang.
I'm not his son's friend, but we're having sleepovers every other weekend.
The Gambino family. So you had people that actually agreed with the hit of Paul Castellano. In my opinion,
all over the newspapers, he's smiling and so forth. Did that bring a certain energy to the Gambino that wasn't the greatest?
you know, we're a quiet organization, so we're
What's
supposed
this
to be an
wee
underground
shit?
organization.
Wait. What's this wee shit? You weren't in the Gambino family. You were never in the Gambino family. You were never going to be in the Gambino family. You were John Jr.'s friend. That's it.
You know, a school trip. Now I'm starting to really realize this guy's noticing me and he's watching what I'm doing. And I'm still not understanding it, that these orders I'm getting, collect money, go baseball bat this guy, go pick up this, is actually coming from the father.
All right, so what happened to the $1 million operation you were running there, Chief? Huh? You just let that go by the wayside? So you're telling me that you had $1 million operation, million plus. Oh, that wasn't gross. That was profit. And that's a conservative number. So you're telling me he's running this multi-million-dollar operation, right? And Gotti Sr. doesn't know anything about it. What happened to that? Oh, he just let that go, right? So he can roll with the fellas.
I think it's us doing our own business on our own. Jeannie Gotti's still alive, still around at the time. He's not locked up yet. And I just believe it's that. And then I start to, it opens my eyes and said, this guy he's very aware of what we're doing. He's very aware that we're moving drugs. He just says he isn't. Because I'm not schooled fully yet.
All right. He just said he's not schooled fully yet. He's aware. They're aware that he's moving drugs. But they're not aware that you're making $1 million plus a week? A week? The fuck out of here. I don't believe you, bro.
Understanding the intricacies of the mafia. I'm not.
Now he's saying he doesn't understand the intricacies of the mafia. But before he just said that he did.
Understanding, I'm not slick enough yet to understand how things are operating.
People aren't supposed to know who's made, who isn't made, who's a boss, who's an underboss, who's a captain, because all this brings notoriety to a crime family, which brings law enforcement, which brings undercover investigations, which brings guys to flip and so on, and it brings down the mob, not just our family, but all 5 families. So obviously, the public doesn't know that. The public, believed in the romance of the media and John Gotti. The inner workings of the mafia is no one was happy. Everybody's quiet about it, and people say, well, why didn't anybody do anything about it? Well, people did. But in the mob, you do it quietly underground, and there was moves to be made to take Gotti out of that position. And by doing so, they started hitting guys around us that were powerful around Gotti. And eventually Gotti was going to get hit, but guys during some of these plots, like Bobby Manor, were locked up, caught on wiretaps, and the hit never occurred.
Well, from what I understand, you were put in a position to protect John Gotti Jr.
He was made, Pete Gotti was made in 1988. It says he was an associate for the Gambino family. In 1988, at the age of 49, Gotti was a made man. That's Peter Gotti. 1988. All right. He was a caretaker for the Bergen Hunt and Fish Club and driver for John and Jean. In 1989, Peter was promoted to capo. John J. Gotti did not believe Peter had the ability to lead the crime family, which led to Peter's reputation to be known as the Dumb Don. All right, so he was made in 1988. He was made in, I gotta find it. I think he was made in the 70s, though.
Called him a spoiled brat as opposed to a gangster.
Well, you know, over the years, I wasn't happy about some of his leadership. I think he was put in a position like a lot of people are because the father was where they were. It doesn't have to be gangsters. It could be in any position in the world. You know, you got fighters that come into the ring that aren't fighters like their fathers, like, you know, Joe Frazier, I'll use as an example. You know, his son was a fighter, but he was never at the, he couldn't fill the shoes of his father. John Gotti Jr. fell far from filling the shoes of his dad. Whether you like John Gotti Sr. as a leader or not, he definitely was a street guy, and he's definitely intelligent as far as coming to crime in the street and how to maneuver the public and maneuver his guys. Junior, on the other hand, you know, was a far cry from that. So
Gotti was not yet a made man. All right, you
respect
ready?
the fact that
Gotti Sr. was not yet. During remember the kidnapping of Carlo Gambino's nephew in 1973, Gotti was assigned to a hit team. Gotti was transferred management crew in 1972. Conditions of his release not to be associated with felons. Gotti was not a made man in the mafia due to his membership books having been closed since 1957 due to the Appalachian meeting. But Facano, I'm probably saying it wrong, but whatever, named him capo of the Bergen Hunt Fish crew when he was paroled. That doesn't even make sense. His crew, Gotti frequently traveled to Delacroce's headquarters at the Raven Knight, who believed that the underboss on the crew's activities, Delacroce, had been taking a liking to Gotti, and two became close at the time. He was arrested for that killing in 1974 after Gotti's Gambino associate killed in 1975 for assaulting the then acting boss of Castellano. Remo stays Gotti become a major figure in the mafia, charismatic, blah blah blah. On October 1976, Carlo Gambino died of natural causes. I don't know. It doesn't say it in here. Does anyone know when John Sr. was a made man? I could find it, but listen, I got COVID. My thoughts are a little scattered.
he met with the FBI, so that changed things for me dramatically.
Well, you have the drug dealing business, but you guys were involved in a lot of different stuff. So at one point, the New York Mets were actually gambling with you?
Yeah.
Fucking lies. They weren't gambling with him because he couldn't take the bets. He had $1 million operation. Now let's listen to him say he couldn't handle the bets.
There was a guy, Joe DeLuca, who happened to know one of my friends, Guy Peden, who was a drug dealer for me, major drug dealer, one of my major movers. And he introduced me to Joe DeLuca, who was the equipment manager for the New York Mets. And Joe brought a couple of the New York Mets to us. At the time, there was a club called Channel 80 out in Long Island, which we frequent all the time. You pull up with boats. The New York Mets, the 86 Mets particularly, hung out there. Joe Klecko from the Jets, Gastineau, these guys, we all hung out there. And we'd pull up with cigarette boats. And, you know, at that time, we're all, it's the 80s, cash was big back then. There was money all over. And we would spend it. They would spend it. And they would use us, and we would use them.
Yes,
wherever we could.
1977.
Something, but you might mean something else.
Yeah, he got made because he did that work for Carlo Gambino, right? Didn't Carlo Gambino's nephew get killed, and he had him do some shit for him in the 70s before he died, I believe, right? And he had him shoot that guy in the bar. 1973, he was assigned to a hit team alongside Ruggiero, Not to be confused with Anthony, the non-gangster. James McBratney murder. In the botched attempt to abduct Bratney, Staten Island bar, an attempt to arrest him while posing as detectives. Galone shot Bratney dead when his accomplice managed to restrain him. Gotti was identified by an eyewitness by a police insider and was arrested for the killing in 1974. He was able to strike a plea bargain, however, with the help of an attorney. Now that's crazy. 1976. So, wow, I'm surprised even after Carlo Gambino died, they still gave him his button, you know?
You're doing something and they're telling you they had no knowledge of it, but they're the ones that sent you. I start understanding all the double dealings and the treachery in the life.
Who's teaching you? Like, who is your lefty to Donnie Brasco or your Sonny? Who's playing that role in your life? That is
John Jr. But who's really playing the role, John? Tell us the truth.
kind of mentoring you, say, like, here's what it is, here's what Omerta is, here's the code of this, here's this. Who's doing that with you?
Well, there was a guy, Ronnie Martino, who was a known killer back in Dick's Deli. And
Gambino family.
No.
Is this the guy that you picked out of fucking thin air to be your mentor?
Outside of the Gambino family. He had a brother-in-law that was involved with the Gambino family, but he was involved with the Lucchese family. We're doing with gambling with us. Through Joe DeLuca.
Right.
Oh, bullshit. But we're going to get back to more and hear more of the...
Excuse me.
Hey, catch that wiener. Now say hi to the people, Jeannie. That a boy. If you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to help the show out, you can donate to the Cash App. It's Chatting with Staxx. I got a lot of great things coming on. I'm going to be dropping some interviews right after this. And you guys will be surprised at who you see. If you want to help the show out, you can donate through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Super Stickers, Super Chats, or Zelle. There's all kinds of different ways, and I appreciate every single dollar. You guys are all great. It's going to be a great year. This COVID shit, it's got to go. But I had a fun time with you guys today, and there's a lot more to come. You guys will be surprised at the future. If you guys like this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. And if you don't like this content, start your own podcast. I appreciate all you guys. And remember, don't be a Johnny A.